And in that one of the last videos that I saw of yours, and we've kind of, been alluding to it a little bit here and there about this faster than light communication. And I saw this
Aha.
beautiful little, thing that you edited together with this person that had wrote you, something about this, and you did the voice and all this great imagery, and it was
Sure.
awesome. Let's talk about this a little bit. What exactly is the claim? We can communicate faster than light. What does that mean exactly?
Oh, it's so wonderful that you've just used entirely the wrong term. And I didn't know this. I
Perfect.
mean, no, it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
This
we
is
can
what
learn
everybody's
here.
calling it. All right.
Yeah.
So let's just, for people who might not understand, planet Zog is a million light years away, and a radio signal or maybe a laser beam that they're shining or transmitting will take a million years at light speed to reach our planet. Now, BLC-1, the exoplanet, is only 4 light years away, so the signal is only 4 years old. That we can actually listen to, but deeper. And that length of time would make even a 4 year delay. How are you doing? 4 years later. Not bad. How are you? It's a bit of an effing boring conversation.
Yeah.
And so there's been all right, let's do a potted history. All right. There's a great desire to be faster than the speed of light, but this is going to be such a mind blowing thing I'm going to say. And I didn't know it till last week. That, say you're in the military here on Earth and you want to control a remote control drone that is in Afghanistan, but you're in Omaha, Nebraska, Patrick, literally.
Yeah.
And you've got your joystick in your porta-cabin and you're sending left a bit, and it takes a delay to get to Afghanistan. Now, I don't really know how it works, but I mean, that's roughly, you're going to have those problems. Or you want to send a signal up to a geostationary satellite and then bounce it down to a tank in the Middle East. Well, there's going to be, you can measure the time up and down. So the military and everybody, and even banks, want instant communication. They want this idea of faster than the speed of light. But here's my bombshell that I learned this week. There isn't faster than the speed of light. Electromagnetic waves can't move faster than the speed of light. There's no such thing as FTL communication. But that's not how quantum communication works. And coming up on my channel is going to be a film where I've got the most brilliant demonstration from this guy who actually has built a model of how quantum communication works. I will give you a preview of the thinking to your channel right now, but you're going to have to watch my film in depth later this
Of
week that
course.
I'll explain it. But here's
Yeah.
the concept. All right. Imagine you have a rod of steel that goes from Earth all the way to the planet with aliens on it. And you push that rod in on Earth. On the other end, because it's a connected rod, a million miles long, the other end will pop out a bit. So you've got that push and shove, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you push it on Earth, it instantly, not faster than the speed of light, instantly will go in at Earth and out at Zog, right? So you've made
Yeah.
this connection. How the crap does that work? Well, it turns out that's exactly what we can do with quantum tunneling. Quantum tunneling has this strange effect that when you press your telegraph key, hello alien, you would expect a signal to go down the wire and then a bell would ring at the other end. It doesn't. It doesn't. As soon as you press the key in, it comes out. It's like it's a solid connection. It's instant communication. It's not faster than the speed of light. It is millions and billions times faster than the speed of light because the word instant. Now, how exactly that works, I'm going to explain to you later
It's
in
like a
this week in the film.
seesaw.
A seesaw. Brilliant. You sit on the Earth seesaw and the alien's arse goes up. It's not a wiggly. You're not sending them a message going, go up, up. No, you sit down and they go up, right?
Yeah.
And what you have to understand, and people are going to ask, how does that work? Well, it's really interesting. It's about looking at physics in a different way. The universe is all connected. There is a connection between everything in a probable subatomic state. That probability is in the quantum world, and if you can exploit that connection, that hard beam connection between two places, like brilliantly, Patrick, a seesaw or a rod, it's great. Sit on one end, the other end goes up, and that is what they
Instantly,
think.
like you said, right? Like
Yeah,
instantly.
it's not faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, you're right.
It's instant. So
Yeah.
we need to talk about that. And what I have learned this week is that extraterrestrials, if they're super smart, would need to do quantum type, let's just call it quantum communication. Let's definitely drop the faster than the speed of light because it's much faster. No, it's good. It's great. I loved it because they and us eventually, when we need to talk, need to be a bit faster than take 4 years to get the message across. So
I mean, of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
for control
do
and
that?
communication. And I get the impression that that's actually going on. In the last film, I mentioned somebody who was the father of this technique. And he is a guy called, it's not a mysterious figure that I'm making up. He's called Gunter Nimitz. He's a professor in Cologne University. He has a Wikipedia page. I'm not making this up. He sent a quantum signal over an air gap, and he expected the signal to take the length of the gap. You can measure it. It left. It would take wiggle, 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 and appear at the other end, and he could measure when it left and when it arrived. But when he did that, when he pressed send, it had already arrived. And he went, what the crap? What's going on here?
Wow.
And he extended that distance, and it's potentially infinite. And to understand that, I need to go into great detail. I think we all think that space is a vacuum, that space, there's nothing in it. So how could
Yeah.
how could something tunnel through nothing? Well, space isn't a vacuum. Did you, viewer, yeah, I'm talking to you, viewer. Did you go out today and was it light? Was it daytime? Maybe still is in where you're living. Well, that's because the energy from our star, the sun, reached you and made you warm. That's something in space. That energy, we are all just energy. We are atoms made of energy. So space is full of different energies from different types of wavelengths. And that's what quantum communication can tunnel through. It doesn't have to tunnel through something solid. It can tunnel through what appears to be empty space because that space has a connection, has energy.
It like hitchhikes along the way through all these different energies.
Yeah, but it's a solid connection. And
Yeah.
so
Solid, yeah.
so move one end and the other end moves. There's no
Yeah.
delay. And it was quite surprising, supposedly. I would be surprised. He was incredibly surprised. He now demonstrates that effect to graduate students who can build their own. He does that all the time. And there's been many peer-reviewed, Becky, PhD studies on Gunter Nimitz's quantum communication techniques. How it's been applied, deployed, and used is still pretty secret. And that's something that I want to talk about later this week.
Yeah, because the idea would be, because what are they sending quantum wise? Are they sending an one atom is appearing? Is that sort of level or what?
You're so smart. That's exactly my question. Yeah, it seems like. So he told me this kind of, these Newton balls, this toy that you can get, like on a desktop, you pull one ball back
Oh
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
hits. As soon as it hits, the one way down the string goes out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that one goes back, the energy goes through, and instantly the other one goes out.
Yeah.
That's actually quite a mysterious effect. That's actually action at a great distance. That is that action from the ball hitting. If you got a million balls on strings and you doinked one at this end, the one at the other end would fly out. That's but so what you can send, what signals you can send anything. You can send photons, you can send energy, you can send electromagnetic or digital encoded stuff. It's actually quite wide, supposedly. I mean, again, I'm getting into the field. I'm not a physicist, but this is what I'm being
Sure.
told that the possibilities of what you can use this tunneling for, the Gunter Nimitz, this real person, used microwaves, used like a microwave telecommunication horn, and he had a horn that was sending out a pulse and another which was a receiver. And he noticed that when he set it up with a quantum way, it left and received instantly. But he was sending, and then a microwave can be modulated. So you can send pictures, you can send music, you can send voice, you can send data.
So interesting. It's the whole like, I get the concept, but it's and I
Yeah.
know we're not going to explain it here, but it's more like the
No.
engineering of it is what I don't understand. It's like, how do I
Right.
let's say, right, like, okay, I have a picture, I want to send it quantum tunneling. What is there, an apparatus that gets built? It you know what I mean? Like, what is the actual physical thing that makes it quantum or sends it or what exactly is happening? And then it makes me think everything is
Right.
connected in the universe all to get, because you can quantum to tunnel to right, like there's a bazillion points of interest to do this from, or I don't know, like how, what, like if it's a machine, it only comes from that machine, or you're sitting on a mountain, you can quantum tell them something, like where does it all, my mind's blown, to be honest with you. It's like I
I
can't wrap
think
my head around it.
you're asking really good questions. I think the other strange thing, Patrick, that it does is that you can pick it up if you've got a quantum receiver on your planet.
Yeah,
But if you had a quantum receiver on a different planet, that signal is also instantaneously there. So, I mean, there's issues, but
wow.
yeah, I mean, it's omnipresent. I think what quantum mechanics, the big take home of what quantum mechanics is, or what it should be defined, is it redefines our place in the universe. We are all
Sure.
made of subatomic quantum stuff, and the universe is all connected. I think we, as big atom collections, um, are
Yeah.
um, are living in a very insular world. I think the real world that we live in is actually far more connected. The universe is more of a energy field. That sounds a
I
bit
agree.
woo-woo,
No,
but
it
I
doesn't.
think
I agree.
yeah. I think there's lots of evidence that things like consciousness, our feeling of connectivity, a
Sure.
lot of the things that are in religious history are about God and religion and connectivity is all to do with actually how we are all connected at one level, but we're also as blobs of flesh, we're also quite isolated. But that touch and that quantum connection between the universe. Oh, I'm sounding like a crazy nutter, but I'm not, because lots of people, lots of people now are finding quantum communication, quantum consciousness, and we're using quantum physics to manipulate gravity. So the
Yeah.
whole thing is a very interesting field, and that's my point. That's what I'm prepared to do on social media. I don't just stop, Becky, on a peer-reviewed science paper and say, take out the trash. I look at what's happening after that and look at stuff that I'm brave. I've been really had a lot of people hitting on me this week, calling me all kind of names. But I'm actually prepared to sit here in my little humble house in France, research stuff, speak to people, ask them difficult questions, and bring breaking science to you. And some of the time, I might get it wrong, but some of it is going to be really good.
Sure. Well, if you're not getting things wrong, are you really trying? You're gonna have to take some risk.
Right,
You're gonna have to put yourself out
right.
there. That's just kind of how it is. Science gets it wrong all the time,
And changes
right?
their ideas. Exactly.
All the
Exactly.
time. That's built
Yeah.
upon that. I wanted to show you this book that I thought was really funny that I have.
Ooh,
Quantum
how
Computing
wonderful.
for Babies.
Perfect.
This guy right here, Worley, I interviewed him on my other podcast that I had a few years ago, and he wrote the book. He
Great.
sent it to me. It's
Oh,
the whole idea of quantum. I mean, it's a play on the joke, right? But it really does
sure.
explain it in a very simple way, and it's mind blowing because I tried to get him to explain a quantum computer to me, and his brain just about fried trying to like really in
Yeah.
layman's terms,
Yeah.
like really
I
break this
know.
down and help me understand. Um, but yeah, it's such a fascinating idea, and what
Yeah.
the possibilities that it opens up is really where my mind goes, because I'm never going to understand the nuts and bolts. I don't even know how my cameras and computer, like I don't need, but I use it. There's a famous comedian named Nate Bargatze, I think is his name, and he has this
Okay.
stand-up bit where he's like, I would be the worst time traveler ever. He's like, if I got
Why?
sent back to, let's say, 18 whatever, and I had to prove I was from the future, he's like, I don't think I could do it. He's like, if they would, I would be like, they see him using the first phone. He's like, in the future, you're going to be able to carry it around. And oh, yeah, well, how does that work? I don't know. I buy an iPhone. What's an iPhone? I don't know. It's like, how do you do that? I don't know. We have these screens and they put how does that work? I don't know. Right. Can you build us one? Nope.
No,
Cannot.
we
I
can't.
don't know.
Right.
Right. Like, and that's how most of us get through life. We don't know how the things, at least on a more maybe on a simple, we might have a simple understanding of how things work, but really deep
Sure.
down we use things that we have no idea how any of this works. So what happens is we rely on smarter people than us who are going to bring this out to us and
Magicians.
show us how it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. and
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
idea and where quantum anything goes, right, put whatever
Yeah.
word you want after that, is
Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely fascinating the doors that could open up in quantum. Would you call it quantum communication? What do you think is the right terminology there?
I think quantum communication is the right one. I think anybody who says faster than the speed of light is going to get jumped on because
Yeah.
me and others will explain that it's not
Well,
FTL.
you yeah, I used it wrong and you explained it to me, and I'm glad I learned that. And now I just
I'm
think of
glad it was good.
the
It was good.
pole you said, and the seesaw. I just think, okay, instant reaction. I get it. Like it totally
Right.
makes sense. That's not. It has nothing to
Connected.
do with speed.
No, it's
Right? It
not
has nothing to do
transmitted.
with speed. Yeah, it's a reaction and opposite reaction.
Right. Right. Right.
Essentially, like speed
What
has
you
nothing to do with it.
Patrick, what you just said about the world that we live in just now is very, very unique. If you go back to the 19th century, almost anybody could build a wheel for their cart. They
Yeah.
could probably knock out a plate with a hammer. Now we're living in a world where, as you say, I mean, you know, can you actually repair the circuit in your iPhone? And
Yeah.
no, you don't know how it
Yeah.
works. You don't have the materials, and they don't want to tell you. we're living in a world now of, as I call, magicians and men behind curtains who are making money. Technological companies, but generally, I mean, in the military are using technology where they don't want us to know how it works because that gives them an
100%.
advantage. And I understand
100%.
that. We're living in a very dangerous time, and I think it's we need better science communicators. I mean, I grew up in a world where in Britain we used to have a TV program called Tomorrow's World, where they would show you the latest CD that came out and they would explain
Yeah.
how it works. We don't get that anymore. And I think it's really down to good communication and
That's a good
brave
point.
people on social media to actually talk about these things, because a lot of
Sure.
it is darkly financed. Physics has gone dark. And
Yeah.
people really need to understand how the basis, quantum mechanics for babies, brilliant, good
That's it.
stuff.
Yeah. No, you make some good points. That disconnect from what the average
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
and technology, where society's technology is at, and what how the average person could connect to it was far closer than where we are now. The average person cannot build a rocket and get to space, right? Like, I mean, you know what I mean, or build a phone in their basement. Like, any of this stuff that we use, can't build a car, can't literally
No,
anything
no,
we have
no.
technology wise. The average person has no idea how to recreate. Plus, you need materials, right? We manufacture materials and compounds,
Yeah.
and it's so far removed for us,
Very,
which does
yeah.
make it possible for bad faith people
Abu-
or bad faith groups or whatever to take advantage of that disconnect. And that's
or
interesting. You're
even the
right.
drip feed. I mean, I'm a
Yeah,
very big Apple person because I
me
like
too.
the software that they use, but they also
Yeah,
drive me effing bonkers because
yeah, me too.
you buy the M1 and then they drip feed you the M2 and then the M3, and now they've just released the M effing 4. I mean,
Yep.
they're using that disconnect between what they know as a marketing tool to bring you stuff. I mean,
You're right.
and that's just commerce. That's capitalism. But imagine what a bad player could do with stuff that they don't want you to know how it works. I mean,
Sure.
the classic example was the atomic weapon. I mean, that was so exotic, but that
Yeah.
has carried on the stealth technology, anti-gravity stuff, and general the whole UAP debate is being controlled by people who know more than most people know about.
Sure.
It's a fast.
Yeah.
We live in a very interesting time, and it takes brave channels like yours and mine to actually expose what's going on or discuss
Sure.
it.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly. Discuss it. Absolutely. What I never see anything wrong with that. That's what blows my mind.
Sure.
Um, so I
And
don't want
let's
to
not.
take out the trash, as Becky says. I don't want to take out the trash. Like, what's wrong with having discussions? You can talk about on your channel. Why can't I talk about this over here? I don't see the problem. In my opinion. Now,
It was
great. She's an
very wrong.
astrophysicist. She would, and I'm not talking about anything of her education or how smart she is or what she understands,
No.
or
No.
but
No.
it's that personal edge that kind of, like, we laughed about that. Like, I get it. I get it to some extent. But it also seems very insensitive. It comes from a very, like, elitist, I'm looking down, sort
I
of thing. Not
I
a
think
fan of
she
that.
came across really badly. I mean,
I agree. I agree.
personally, and as I said, I would have talked to her. I
Sure.
would never. And can I just say one thing again for you, for Vetted and you and your channel and your excellent production skills? You have very good mediators, moderators on your comments. Well, Becky allowed the most disrespectful things about me personally, calling me fat and ugly and old and weird and stuff. Why would she allow that on in her comments? I mean, if I'd done a film with that Becky woman and somebody said something rude, I wouldn't have allowed it. I mean, because she was my guest, or I was talking about something that she'd done. But she and her channel has, I mean, I wake up in the morning and read the most appalling things that people want to say about me. And it's
Sure.
They wouldn't say that to me down the pub, I
Never.
hope.
No,
I'd
no,
smash
that's
them
the
in
internet.
the face.
Yeah. A quantum punch. You can just do it from your house and it hits them in the bar that they're at. How funny is that?
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.